We're kind of back live now. Craig just fixed it for me. And again, this is Don Matheson, former member of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. You might think all I talk about is negative things. Well, pretty much in the society I live in, that's mostly what other people are talking about. Until we fix some of these things, we're going to continue to talk about them. But it's time we did something more than just talk. How about some of us start walking the walk? As I said to you earlier, I was stationed here 62 and a half years ago when these first abutments you see that I showed you, I panned for you, was the old bridge. And if you came down the hill either side and entered into the actual bridge area, you couldn't get out. Somebody had to back up, and in the wintertime you usually collided with who was in that path. So do I think this is progress? Hell do I ever. Okay. And besides that, the river that I showed you is now controlled by a dam. I believe it's Dixon Dam west of Red Deer. Okay. So they can maintain a flow all the time. And especially in the winter time when freshet comes, it used to wipe out everything along the shoreline. They used to have bets. They would put a kind of a shanty toilet in the middle of it and see when it got swept down, when the ice thawed. They don't have to worry about that now. It's controlled. And when I think of the number of people that are drawing water from this river, it gets exceptional low. The dam is on a control, but it doesn't stop farmers and other people from pumping illegally from this river. Is there a requirement to do that? Well, if it was my crop and animals that depended on it, I probably would do the same. There's different ways of doing it, however. This is a gorgeous valley. Some of the white-tailed bucks in here are massive, pure muscle. To see the up and down the banks here, little ones don't survive very long. Just a little north, kind of northwest on the riverbed, the other side of this big one. We had been called about a couple of boys that were overdue. It was wintertime, it was damn cold, and there was a lot of ice in the river and a lot of... Anyways, these two young lads had climbed up a bank, and then they couldn't get out of the hole that they'd gone into to get out of the wind and the rain and snow. But I had fished most of these banks, and I knew the farmers that were along them. So I knew exactly where these young lads would be. Al Moore, who was a corporal at the time, accompanied myself. He came down from Red Deer and I came up from this bridge area, and we found those young lads. Somebody said over the accommodations you got, Don, you should put that on your shirt when you go into orderly room next time. Well, that's not how it works out. Okay? But this is a beautiful valley, as are just about every place in Canada. And again, the only people that abuse this are not animals, they're us. Well, I guess they call us party animals sometimes, don't they? I can walk anywhere where there's a path and I'll find garbage that's been dropped by the people who are out here trying to enjoy it. Well, if you want other people to enjoy it, stop when you pack your old food in. It's like packing a dozen beer in, but you want to break the empties on the rocks. How about you just pack them out? Okay. What's happening to everything in Canada is human caused. I couldn't stop a fire coming out of Jasper. There's so much vegetation that's been never ever cleared up over the years, but that belongs to the federal government, Parks Canada. So the people living in those areas have no say in it. So when that fire managed to accumulate debris after debris after debris, you create a violent fire. So let's put the blame where this belongs. It's on us as a society. And speaking of blame, our illustrious Prime Minister Justin Trudeau just stepped off a flight at Laos. Do I think he needed to be there? Well, it just seemed like he ran at the wrong time. But his little I don't like this phrase, but I use it for people that brown nose and suck up, thinking they're going to get something better. I don't like the word. It denotes something about somebody that really, it probably is true. And Mary Nag, when they stepped down, the aircraft settled down in Honolulu, she got out to say how wonderful her Prime Minister was. Well, your Prime Minister is supposed to lead you. He's supposed to be an example, Mary. He doesn't do either. He doesn't lead by example, and he doesn't. You said that you really cared about Justin Trudeau. Really? Well, what your government should care about, Mary Nye, is the people of Canada. That's their prerequisite. It doesn't matter who the party is. And frankly, I don't care when I see what's running anymore, whether I care who gets in either. I just hope we get a government eventually that cares about the Canadian public. Isn't that what they're supposed to be doing? Okay, so how long is this juvenile going to hang around? I can remember my twin brothers, 2 boys. I'm not going to say their names. They're both alive and they're actively in their own careers. But they grew up with Justin Trudeau in Ottawa. And he used to come right from kindergarten. He used to come with the young lads and say, boys he wanted to play with, oh, I got a brand new bat and ball, but if you don't play by the rules, I'm going to take my bat and ball and I'm going to go home. You think he's changed in 50-some years? Of course he hasn't. He's even worse, not better. No, people with better educational qualities have words for them. People that don't have quite that education, they like to swear. Well, I don't swear, so I don't use those words. But how has he changed? He hasn't. So anyways, the young lads, including my 2 nephews, they got tired of him saying, you got to play by my rules. So they finally said, after about 4 days of listening to him at a very young age, then take your bat and ball and go home. Well, he did. But as a result, he had nobody to play with. So about 4 days later, he come back and he said, okay, I'll play with you guys and I'll play by your rules. How about our rules? Well, he's gotten worse, not better, and so have a lot of us. I live in a society that loves to talk, but won't walk the walk. Well, don't put that on me, Don. Keep me out of this. Okay. I have a lot of mounted policemen right now, both active and retired, that are really upset with what the Royal Canadian Mounted Police did to myself and a young lady over the last few weeks with no warrants, no reasonable probable grounds. Okay? And when we retain and the charges are laid, then I will go public with it in every detail I can. I want some of these bad cops to hell out of their uniform. Oh, Don, our commissioner, Mike Duhame. Oh, give us a little more time, Don. The mounted police are so far behind with catching up to things that are going on. Yeah. Look at Blair, the minister of what? He's got warrants that have been sitting in his office for 54 days. Oh, I didn't know they were there. And they were key to what was going on in Canada at the time. And he's in a portfolio where he doesn't know where documents are in his home, in his office. So who are these people? Tell me one qualified member of Parliament that's in a position that when he messes it up or she messes it up, doesn't get another portfolio. And are they qualified for that? No, because they're going to keep supporting their own government. Right now, with what Justin Trudeau is facing, he's facing, what, 22 new members of caucus? They don't want to say who they are. Heaven forbid. I had a picture in the car that I wanted to show you. Jody Wilson-Raybould. And our health minister at the time, who supported Jody over the SNC-Lavalin affair. You think Justin Trudeau told the truth during that? No, and when Jody Wilson and Jane tried to talk about it, he fired them. He set them out of cabinet. And that's what most of the ministers right now that have a portfolio, they're afraid that he's going to fire them out of cabinet. And then what are they going to do? I don't know. Maybe you should do what everyday working people have. Work and tell the truth. And what is the truth, public? What really is the truth? I'll give you a couple minutes to think that over, because most of you can't even talk about it. Well, it's the opposite of a lie. But if I say a word lie in the court, I get admonished for it. I'm told, no, Mr. Matheson, you have to say it's just a non-truth. Ask a child what the opposite of the truth is. And that child won't even pause. That child will say it's a lie. Oh, heaven forbid. You can't say that in our courtroom, Mr. Matheson. Really. And I want to talk about an individual who probably is one of the most knowledgeable people about things, truth, and standing up for freedom. His name is Dr. Jordan Peterson. And in the National Post last weekend, there's 3 full pages of Dr. Jordan Peterson backing up a group of psychologists, psychiatrists, who were going to lecture him and train him how to do things better. I often wondered who the hell was better than Dr. Jordan Peterson. Nobody was. And the society that tried to back Dr. Jordan Peterson up have now come to him and said, oh, can we negotiate this? Look, if you go along with this, we won't hold the cost to you, what you've just incurred to fight this. And believe me, those costs for Dr. Peterson and his family are enormous. And if he would go along a little further with him, why would he? He knows the truth. So, what? Do you sell your soul? Dr. Peterson said, my soul's not for sale. Never has been, never will be. Well, I kind of identify with that. My mom and dad taught me about that. And I'm quite a bit older than. But is my value structure the same as his? You bet it is. So, what are we going to learn from all this kerfuffle that Dr. Jordan Peterson had to go through with his family on his own? How many of you supported him? How many even sent him something to back him up? You didn't, did you? You had him do this on his own. And now they want to negotiate because they can't find somebody that's more intelligent that can talk about the truth. And if you want to know about the best historian we have in Canada, don't go to members of parliament that you use on your sites all the time, your little panels that discuss little things and say, oh, well, this should be this way and that should be that way. These are political figures that you use to decide what you can't talk about, you won't talk about. And that man's name is Conrad Black. He was a lord at one time. He ran a lot of newspapers, he owned them, and some of them he helped to destroy. But overall, if you want somebody that can talk to you about Canadian history, you can't find another person that can do it in a forthright, honest, elegant manner than Conrad Black can. So what? Because he did time in the United States? That bars him from being able to talk? Well, the people he made a lot of money for sure backed away from him. In fact, I think he and his good wife have a lawsuit against some of these people now. So where are they going to hide? And then we use, I like Nick Nanos. I like a couple other members of Parliament as well. But they're not going to get into the details at all. They're going to come out every time you want to do a study of something. So when are they going to change anything? They know what side their bread is buttered on, so they're not going to step over the boundaries. I get tired of watching politics anymore. It's just not the same anymore. There's very few people that care about every other person in Canada. We just finished the Thanksgiving weekend. We got a half a day left, and it's been absolutely gorgeous. How many people went hungry? Why don't you work on that, Liberal Party, instead of making promises? I don't care who your party is anymore. I really don't care who gets in. You're all pretty much the same. You have meaningful and caring promises, but they're all empty, and you know it when you do them. Take a look at the mess in British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario. We as a society have let this happen. Okay? We're now going to try and do forced recovery on people that don't want to get sober or don't want to get off drugs. I think we can do some prerequisite steps along the way that they don't have to get that far. But those are called budgets, aren't they? So I find it hard to sit in the beauty I'm sitting in right now and try and talk you people in who don't give a damn about other people, about how to do this. As I said, I was stationed in this valley 62 and a half years ago. Do I like the changes that are here? You bet I do. Right now I do. But I'll guarantee you that if I stay away from this valley for 2 or 3 days, unless they have groundskeeper picking up the garbage, I'm going to find what you left. So, and who drops the garbage? It's called a hand. You know, one of these? It doesn't get there by itself. Our lakes are polluted with it. I like swimming, and I swim underwater, and I'm sick looking at what's on the bottom of our lakes. Okay? Never mind what's floating on top. So when are we going to start changing, public? I say the police forces are never going to change on their own. Our courts are not going to change on their own. Okay? I listen to judges say, well, Mr. Matheson, you can't say that. You bet I can. Because you're not saying it, and you're the people that are inside it. So how much longer do we let you decide how we are going to live? Freedom of speech? We don't have it. Freedom of association? We don't have that. There's some areas I go to that I'm quite happy because I like the changes, but the majority of them, I just feel bad. We're not fixing anything. We're making the matters worse. Oh, gee whiz. Hey, Red Deer built a brand new courthouse. You ever had a look at the old one? And until we fix the people that are inside it, nothing is going to change. I'm kind of taking a breath of fresh air. It just came down the river here. It's quite warm here today. It's really nice. So how many more times am I going to have to sit down and do this? I am sitting down right now because of the way I was arrested. My legs are unsteady. What happened to me during that arrest? 2 of them. It takes me a little longer to heal when I've been physically abused, especially by a bad cop. Bad cops. C-O-P-S, plural. Come on. You remember when country singers could say, hold your warm and tender body next to mine? We got all upset, didn't we? How many of you not had a woman lay down beside you and have a sleep and you realize it's the person you love, you care about? We have advanced so fast, so quickly, we forgot about the people we should care about. And my biggest issue, and it will always be, is our children. They are the future of this country. And what the hell have they got to look forward to? We got a group called Hamas that rolled into Canada, into our universities. You notice they wear a mask all the time? And now they're taking to burning our flag and saying death to Canadians, death to Canada. Isn't that a threat? Wow. You know what the court's going to say? Gee, Don, that's freedom of expression. Well, the American gals hockey team used to skate in their dressing room on our flag with no guards on. We didn't say anything about that. Did we do that to them? No, I don't think we did. So when are we going to stand up? Oh, heaven forbid, hold on a minute. We can hold these people accountable for burning that flag and threatening our own people in our own country. We're going to charge them with setting a fire without having a permit. Oh, isn't that handy? Wow. We need to haul their asses right out of this country and send them back to where they came from. Are we going to do that? Oh, heaven forbid, Don. Come on. That's called freedom of speech. No, it's not. That's a threat. It's intimidation. So when are our university, our deans in our university, or the governance boards going to do anything about this? I can't be there all the time. I don't want to be there all the time. There's some days I'd just like a day off when I can wake up and say, hey, this is a nice day today. Nobody's getting raped. Nobody's being robbed. Children aren't being trafficked. All right, I'm going to finish off here right now. So this is Don Matheson coming from the Red Deer River Valley at Joffre, Alberta. Again, I was stationed here 62 and a half years ago. So stay well, take care. That's not a request, that's an order.